Toronto Maple Leafs hockey team.
Yep.
So I've been watching that, which hockey is not something like I like pretty much all sports and pretty happy to watch most things except Test match cricket. But hockey is not something that I'd really. I always found it really hard to watch because the puck is just so small on such a big field, rink, whatever it is. That it's just I found it hard to watch. But this is a really cool way to watch it, and it's another really good, well-made, well-narrated season of All or Nothing. I think the production is fantastic. Every season I've watched, I've really enjoyed, and the Maple Leafs wasn't any different. I found that it's really interesting to me to watch sports stars that in their own right in Toronto are a massive deal, but to me here in Australia, I've never even heard of the names, heard of the person, no idea who they are. So you come out with like a blank mindset, which I find quite cool.
Yep.
And it's another one of those COVID riddled seasons, so I guess it makes it interesting. But I think with everything, like we keep saying, it's going to be an undertone of in reality shows of COVID pandemic for a while. It's interesting. They do it from the perspective of the players, the coach, the business managers. And like I said, it's really well made, really interesting, and it follows the seasons. You get really amped up and into it. But I guess, as is always the problem with the All or Nothing show, they can't control the ending. And I'm still, other than Man City and a couple of other times, it's really hard to watch them without giving away the ending, but you can always watch the ending and know the sports result. That it kind of fizzles out because the season kind of fizzled out. So you get really invested and you love these players and you really want them to win, but because the directors and the producers obviously can't control the outcome, I don't know, I find it kind of like watching Remember the Titans, and you get really invested in it, but imagine kind of Remember the Titans and they get to the end and they just lose.
Yeah, they just get to a final and lose straight away. And it's like, oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, it's like the Mighty Ducks, and they got their clothes, they got their kit, and all that happened was they got beaten and they went home.
Yep.
So, I mean, I loved the show, and I loved every episode except the last one, because the last one, I just wanted it to keep going, which is a testament to how good it was. And I just wanted it to keep going, and then I realized in the last one it was all kind of falling through, and it kind of just was a sad ending, I guess. A disappointing ending, but I guess that's the season, that's sport. You have disappointing endings to seasons, and I guess that makes the show similar.
So do you feel like it's a good sort of introduction to ice hockey for someone that's not really watched it before?
Yeah, definitely, because I'm someone that's not watched it before, and I found it interesting. And I mean, it depends how into contact sport you are, but just to see, it's the only sport in the world where it can somehow just turn into boxing on ice. As long as there's only two people in the fight and one of them doesn't fall to the ground, the referees just stand back and let them throw their gloves off, and they just bare knuckle box. And It's normal. Like, it's a part of the game where they actually encourage it to turn the momentum of the game. And I mean, there was a big injury to the captain of the Maple Leafs. It was just completely accidental, and I felt bad for the guy that did it. But one of them got checked, the captain. He goes down, and as he's sliding, another guy tries to jump over him and accidentally just knees him square in the face. Ooh. And fully concusses him, fully knocks him out. He ends up having a really bad sort of a concussion where he kind of comes to, but then wants to fight the medics off of him. It's really graphic, really hard to watch, and knowing that his family was watching it was really tough. But then you feel bad for the guy that did it, because even when the referees come over to the other team and they say, look, we reviewed it, it was completely an accident, you can see him try to get past him and jump over him, you just know this guy's about to get belted. And they do. They don't even, the referee drops the puck, they don't even look at it, they throw their gloves off and they just start punching.
Straight at that bloke.
Yeah, crazy. So, I mean, to see a sport that has different rules and like I said, a sport that you might not be into, I guess it would be pretty similar for people from North America watching the sort of the AFL documentaries or Tiger Town or whatever, and watching our shows if they ever do. But it's interesting for someone that comes from a perspective of no hockey to get to know the game, get to know the players, and get to know how big a deal it is somewhere other than here.
Do you feel you'll now watch a live game if you see it pop up on Foxtel or something?
I don't know that if it was a Maple Leafs game, which shows you how much I invested in the team. If it was a Maple Leafs game, I would. But I would definitely be, like, I went to North America and we travelled around there for a good month and a half. and I watched an NBA game. I went to an NFL game. We did Knicks. We did Philadelphia Eagles versus the Giants. And we did those sports things, but I wouldn't necessarily go to watch a hockey game then. But now I would, particularly if I could get the Maple Leafs, because now I feel like if I didn't have a team before. Now I feel invested in them, so I kind of feel like they're the team I support.
Yep. So yeah, now they've done what they've done: soccer, hockey,
Done soccer,
NFL.
they've done hockey, they did the All Blacks rugby union, they did multiple. They started off with obviously the NFL season, so they've done the Cardinals, they did the Eagles, they did the LA Rams, and then they also did a college season for, I can't remember which college team it was, but that was quite interesting to see a college season as well. So they've done a real mix of sports. I have heard, I'm not sure if it's the all or nothing team, but I have heard, hopefully, that Arsenal for the EPL is being followed around this year too.
Yeah, I think that is all or nothing. I think that is all or nothing this
Well, they probably pick, if you want another disappointing ending, Arsenal's probably the team to pick.
year. Yeah, not the greatest start to the season so far.
No, bit of a turnaround though. We're getting there. But
Slowly
I
coming back.
did hear that they were blaming the filming crew, which is interesting. I wonder how much impact it has on these teams. But they were blaming the film crew being there, which they'll blame anything at this point. But yeah, interesting to see how much impact the filming crew might have, good or bad, on a season.
Yeah, I suppose like you can try and just put it out of your mind, but everyone knows that hey, there's a camera on me at all times, recording everything that's happening at
Yeah,
training and in the locker room and stuff. So it's got to impact people,
yeah.
even
I mean,
just
they used to blame the
subconsciously.
thing on them, but I think in these scenarios, they kind of know that they're being profiled more. And there's even a part with the Maple Leafs that one of the players was like, "Oh, I hope this isn't my cameo or my intro," and it was. It was like him eating a weird cereal or something random. But it's obviously they know that they're getting a more in-depth following, and some of the players have their families looked at and things like that too. So they give them a lot of access. But to the credit of the show, the way that they do it is that they wait. Obviously, they have the package of the family, but they wait until something big happens for that player to introduce them into the episode. So they don't just randomly go, "There's this player," and follow them through a nothing episode. They'll wait until, say, the player gets a hat trick or an award or an injury or whatever it might be, and then they introduce the profile. So the way that they do it kind of has a lot of continuity and is actually interesting.
Yeah, it makes it feel more natural rather than sort of planned out and contrived.
Definitely, it would be weird if they just went through sort of the order of the team, like 1 to 12 or whatever it might be.